I recently bought a keyboard, the Keychron K2HE. This is not a keyboard review. I was just reminded at how expensive IMs are. I mean, I think I'm already like probably almost in game for the keyboard for like 140 bucks. And now this IM here, Softears Volume S, comes around 319, 300 bucks. They're not cheap, to be honest. They're not cheap. In my 3-4 years of reviewing IMs, I was just throwing in prices like anyone can afford them. So I'm gonna have like a resolution to really dig deep into the price and value of each IMs. Good day guys, this is Practiphile and today we're gonna take a look at the Softears Volume S. Thank you so much JTiz for sending this over for review. I really appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I'm not a big name in the hobby. I'm just like you. I'm a consumer. I buy stuff. But hey, if you want or if you need a second opinion, third opinion, if you're going to purchase, probably I can come in and like maybe you can watch other reviews. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine with the big reviewers like HBB, Critical, Timmy, those guys, big guns. I'm just one man's opinion here, really. But yeah, if you are born around the 90s, you like alternative, Incubus, Green Day, stuff like that, we probably have the same library. You have to choose a reviewer that listens to the same music as you. Anyhow, moving on to the Volume S, I don't have the box with me. You can check other reviews on the unboxing and stuff, but build-wise, they fit pretty well. I like the cable, it's fabric. I think there's this fabric element to it. Maybe it could have been better if there are elements of metal in it. I think this is just resin, and it does feature high impedance and low impedance, and I'm going to talk about that later. In my review, I usually do objective and subjective. So objective first, like just checking on the graphs and everything, and subjective wherein I score the IM. So the Volume S graphs like this one here, this is the low impedance and this is the high impedance. As you can see there's a difference in bass and gain. So it's like it's shifting towards being bright and being warm at the same time. So this is pretty, this is a special set because it's either or. It's either a warm IM or a bright IM. You pick your poison. However, are you gonna be using both? That is hard to tell because if you're a warm, if you prefer warm, I don't really think you are gonna listen to the high impedance. And if you prefer brighter signatures, I also don't think you're gonna listen to the low impedance. So, which is still, you get the options, but you know what I mean? Like maybe if you're someone who is still looking for your preferred signature, maybe it's good, but eventually you're gonna find which one you prefer, right? So you're just gonna be using one tuning from this one here. Anyhow, the low impedance one, the bass is, you see there, a significant amount of bass. It's, let's see my balance target in there. I think the gain is more of like the meta gain wherein it peaks around 3K and in a steady decline. There's a dip there at 6K, which makes vocals really forward and full-bodied. Treble extension might be a scam because this one here, it doesn't sound dark. It really doesn't sound dark. Graph-wise, it may look like, it's dark sounding, but no. It actually has good timbre on cymbals, which which was really surprising. For the high impedance, as you can see there, yes, you notice it. There's a lesser bass and a higher gain. You are going to notice that the bass, of course, is lesser, not really less tight, but it's not a warm IM. You do see there a bit of elevation in there. It's pretty bright, maybe a little bit thin sounding, so it's not really good for long listening sessions. You do see that there's some resolution in there, but I couldn't really listen to it for like maybe more than 20 or 15 minutes without lowering the volume. So yeah, that's the objective findings, and moving on to my subjective scoring. The tonality on this is probably, I'm just gonna give it 2.5. They sound really good, but it maybe the low impedance is just really a bit bassy for me. I'm not saying that the bass is bad, it's just that I would have preferred to maybe a little bit of lesser mid bass in there. I enjoy bass, but hey, this is subjective, right? So just 2.5 for the tonality. Well, I don't think that this is dark sounding. I would have wished really that there's a little bit of lesser bass in there. I mean, the high impedance does have a lesser bass, but the gain is also higher, which, you know, makes vocals a little bit shoutier, and, you know, treble can be a little bit more forward as well. So tonality, just 2.5. Moving on to the bass. The bass is, yeah, the texture is there, the quality is good, and I was expecting it to have like a very realistic decay because, you know, passive radiators like the Simgut EA1000, I scored it 3.5 for the bass because of the passive radiator. The Dyna Quattro, I like the bass on that, it has a passive radiator, but it doesn't seem to be the case on the Volume S for some reason. I can feel that there's a little bit of dimension to the bass, but it's not as impactful as the EA1000, as the Dyna Quattro, and even the DZ4s. Maybe because of the level of the bass, maybe it's a little bit too much, but yeah, the bass for me, it's just 2.5. Even for the high impedance, it's hard to explain. It's a little bit light on the high impedance, so there's really nothing in between on the bass of the Volume S. It's either too much or too less. So I really wish there was a middle ground in there. Moving on to the mids, I really like the vocals in this. Female vocals sounded really good. They're full-bodied because of the dip there at 6K. My neutral target, has a dip in there, and exactly that is the reason why I put that dip in there. It just makes vocals sound forward and realistic and intimate. And I like that presentation. Instruments sounded good. Guitars, drums, snares, toms, perfect. So mids, 2.5. No, I'm sorry, 3 on the mids. Now, moving on to the treble. The treble in here is, which is really surprising. So the treble in here is really natural sounding. As I've mentioned before, you may think that it's dark sounding based on the graphs, but man, this is one of the most natural sounding treble implementations in this price range, even compared to the Dusk, even the Studio 4s. I think this is more natural than the Studio 4s, and it's just I play drums and my cymbals sound like this one here. So again, as I mentioned, treble extension might be a scam because it like on graphs it doesn't really extend well, but cymbals really sound good. They're crisp. It's not airy. I mean, I don't need air in my cymbals because I want cymbals to be naturally decaying. I don't want them to linger. But yeah, treble on this, it's great. I'll give it 3 for the treble. Moving on to the techs. Again, techs, it has great 3D spacing. I was listening to Bob Marley's In This Love, and it was just great. It was spacious. It's not airy big, but the proportion is great. You know, there's depth and there's a little bit of width. The proportion is just great. You know, like there's this perceived 3D space that I feel. Although the text for me, they're natural sounding, I'm probably just gonna give it 2.5, maybe because of the price. Again, the reason why I'm a little bit, not really strict, but I'm kind of like hesitant to give higher scores to sets that are maybe around more than 200 plus, because like I already gave a perfect score to Let's Shower S12 2024s, and that is the one to beat. IEMs should sound better than that in its price range. And then I just realized, like, even at 300 bucks, maybe it's cheaper relative to other IEMs, like maybe 500 bucks or 600 bucks. Still, it's a $300 IEM. Because anyway, this one here, 2.5 for the text. This is 2.5 for the text, and I think this is like A+, right? So it's not an S for me, it's just A+. So yeah, moving on to the comparisons. Let's see here, we have the Studio 4. If compared to the low impedance, right there, as you can see there's a significant amount of bass in there, mid bass. The gain is really similar, and maybe that's why I really like this set. And I also scored a lower on the bass because of that elevation in there. All in all, if you want a warmer replay, more natural sounding cymbals, and cheaper, maybe you can get the Volume S. Studio 4 is more of like neutral, really. Like it's not really engaging. If you want a reference, then maybe the Studio 4s. If you want fun on the bass and also in the treble, because there's this, you know, switch in the impedance, then maybe you can get the Volume S. Another one is the Da Vinci. Da Vinci is here because of the gain. Let's see right there. See that? So it's also a little bit I mean, not really following the same curve, but you have an idea. Da Vinci also has that 3K peak, and then there's also a dip at 6K. Although the Da Vinci might have a little bit forward treble, it's also compensated by a more distinct sub bass. The bass on the Da Vinci is gonna be slower, so I think I'm gonna give the bass on the Volume S in here. Maybe I don't really like both of the bass because the Vinci is slow and the mid bass on the Volume S is a little bit too much, but probably I'll pick the Volume S in this one here. So maybe if you want a more relaxing U-shape kind of tuning, Da Vinci, and if you want maybe more natural sounding treble and vocals, maybe the Volume S. It's a tough pick because maybe they trade blows. They trade blows. Another one would be the T Pro. Manger T Pro right there. The T Pro is here. It's because of the bass. The T Pro's bass is gonna be better in quality, in my opinion. It's just that syrupy feeling, rich, lush bass. I think for the treble, I think I'm still gonna give it to the Volume S. Even if the T Pro is a hybrid, I'm still gonna give it to the Volume S when it comes to that like treble implementation and timbre. So also interestingly, the Let's Sure S15 follows the same bass as the Volume S, as you can see there. The gain is a little bit different, but I think the S15's bass is more immersive in a way, probably a little bit better in quality, maybe because of that treble air in there. So I think that impacts how bass is presented. So if you want maybe a more V-shaped, more exciting bass and treble, pick the S15. More naturally played than the Volume S. Another one would be the Mega 5 EST. This is a little bit expensive, but it's here because of the gain. Look at that there. The bass is gonna be a little bit different, but they have a similar gain at 3K. There's a dip for the Volume S at 6K, and for the Mega 5 AST, it's just really good treble extension in general. I do feel, again, that the timbre on the Volume S is better than the Mega 5 EST. Even if the Mega Fast has ESTs, I think the treble timbre and the cymbal timbre on the Volume S is better for some reason. Maybe if you want a warmer IM, the Volume S is for you. If you want an overall all-rounder sound, Mega Fast, but it's also more expensive. So and what I have here is actually the last one is a Kima. Kima is one of my perfect scored IM. It's a single DD. The graph is here. Look at that. They have a similar elevation on around the mid bass. There's gonna be more sub bass for the Volume S. A little bit of different in gain, but as you can see there, the Kima is also very natural sounding for maybe like 1/3 of the price of the Volume S, because the Kima is like maybe like $100. Of course, the Volume S is gonna sound better when it comes to timbre, but I'm just giving you an idea that it doesn't really mean like if an IM is like $300, it's gonna sound like 3 times than other IMs in 100. Because for me, like any IM price more than 100, it's already expensive, man. Like again, in comparison to keyboards, like I just bought my laptop like 3 months ago for like $800. I was really thinking of it, like should I buy it? You know, like I was really researching about it, and I can understand if I did that with some of my purchases. I know you guys are also watching videos and thinking really hard if you're gonna buy a certain IM. This is it's our hobby, and you know, so I know that sometimes we may not care on how much we spend, but still, it's $300 is expensive. Last year, I may have given this an S relative to, you know, my price category, but really, I mean, these sound good. I'm not saying that these sound bad. It's just really that I'm just really careful on, you know, recommending sets that are maybe more than $100, because that's just how it is. I mean, yeah, Volume S, Softears Volume S. It's a nice set. If you have the cash, go for it. Otherwise, maybe stick to $100 IM. There are a lot of good sounding sets around that price range. And see you in my next video. I have Mega 5 ESTs, Limer's Terra, and IO Sonyo sent by Super Review. See you next time.